Just chilling. Chilling in the backyard. It's not even that high. This is like a bench that we sit on in the backyard. Just hanging out there. Yeah, me too. I hate when I'm dropping frames. It's the worst. It's very irritating as a streamer. All right. So then we have we're gonna have some tension here because his little leather shirt's tucked in and he's got nice tight belt there. So add a couple of those little kind of wrinkles like this. It's like kind of pinching in, we're about 38 minutes. Well, about 30 minutes in. Third She-Devil, so not too much. What we got? See what a difference that does. Already starting to look a little bit like cloth. And then, okay, so we have 3 buckles or ties or something right here. So that also will create, like a pulling effect like this. His beard is in the way, so we'll just bend it out of the way here. Kind of like these little V's. Peppered moth. Do I have photo reference? Yes, I do. Yeah, we should always use reference when you're working on stuff, especially if it's things. Well, you should always use reference, even if it's something you've done before. You can only benefit from having source material to refer to. It's the reference that teaches us, that we learn from. Without reference, we don't learn anything. Just doing those stretches on the opposite side. Yeah, post. Yeah, definitely share. But yeah, Discord is the place for that. Big moths like that are just really cool. Always real magical. You have more. I don't know why, but you just have more respect for something like that. That works. Wow. That's Mr. Maggot, aka Ragemonger. How you doing, Mr. Maggot? That's crazy, man. Okay, so now there's this big kind of area here where I feel the need to add material because it's such a deep indentation there, and it shouldn't be so deep. We also want wrinkles to kind of be pulling like this a little bit. Got a pretty established direction there. Like that. I use my wider end of my tool to create kind of the wider wrinkle marks first before we get down into the smaller stuff. Okay. You guys are very passionate about your moths. That's good. It's an uncharted territory for me. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a wrinkle here like this. I usually try to just add a big chunk of clay that represents the cloth, just like we did, and then we just kind of tool the wrinkles into the clay surface. But every once in a while you have to go in and add and do an additive wrinkle. Just fill in that void. Really? Well, that would make sense because I have a lot of tomatoes back. Oh, that. So he's planting hornworms on my tomatoes right now. Dang, that thing's impressive. That's what a hornworm becomes, huh? That makes sense. I have a lot of tomato plants back there. Why he's hanging out. I have so many tomatoes, I don't even have to worry about it, to be honest. It's... They could eat all they want. I will have plenty still. Oh, yeah? Yeah, sometimes it's the best way to deal with pests is just to outgrow them. So they're no longer a pest because you just have too much abundance for everybody. Alright. Deep wrinkles in there. Wrinkles is one of those things you just, by looking at reference and kind of seeing how fabric and material moves and trying to sculpt it, you end up developing a sense for it, where it's almost like a second nature. You don't even have to think about it. Just kind of, you just know where something needs to be changed or if something doesn't look right. No, yeah, I don't use any fertilizers or anything. I try to be as not involved as possible, if that makes sense. The leaves from fall are the food for the plants. I make nature work for me, not the other way around. Not me working for nature.
Now, how may these hands be of service to you?
Huckbox. Okay. Hey, what's up, Chills? Hey, thank you for the 2 months of support, man. I appreciate that. You're probably gonna hear puke box from a lot of people. It's just warning you. that was a little bit of a temptation there. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying your stay here. A lot of people already have, yeah, I figured. All those dyslexic people. Alright, just gonna add those little dots here. Figuring out the flow of the wrinkles there. It's all about hills and valleys. If you think of a clothing like an accordion, really it's just like a fancy accordion. The way an accordion kind of has those hills and valleys with the peaks, you know, the really sharp peaks. It's the same idea. Just a little bit more complex accordion. Let's move that down a little bit.
Now, how may these hands be of service to you?
Southern Kid Rock, thank you very much for that 7 months, man. How you doing? Appreciate the support. When I'm making like rougher looking clothing, I always like doing these kind of like these really overly dramatic like stitching wrinkles. Just I don't know. Reads as like medieval fantasy clothing there. Kit Checker. How you doing, Kit? Thank you for this. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, raiders. How we all doing? Yeah, the stream will go probably not longer than 4 hours. I usually just try to get this step done before calling it quits. So we'll just get this torso area to a stopping point, and then that'll finalize the tutorial for this month. Sometimes they go shorter, sometimes longer. So, hey, what's up, Tashi? Yeah, welcome, raiders. We're doing a tutorial stream today. So, once a month I do a. It's more of a. I'm trying to more focus on explaining every step that I'm doing, as opposed to during the week, or I'm just kind of working through stuff. But we do this once a month, last Sunday of every month, and we work on this character we've been working on start to finish in that tutorial type method. So at the end of this project, we'll have a full walkthrough, step by step, of an entire piece. So the last one we did, we added the belt and the belt accessories onto the belt. So now we're working on the torso. In here we're gonna have kind of like that's because the belt is attached here and up here, so this is kind of like, because there's a lot of tension, you can almost kind of see a little bit of his whatever his undershirt is kind of peeking through that little area. We could do the same here. Just kind of make a little. There you go. Those little things help sell that idea of that's really kind of tight around the belly. Okay, now over here is a little bit different because this arm is more down, and whereas this one's stretched up, so the wrinkles are kind of pulling upwards, whereas this one's bent down, so they're more going to be like this, kind of around the bending part. Like in that kind of direction. I can do a couple of deeper ones like this. Oh, hey man, I totally get it. Have a good one, man. Thank you for the raid. That's cool. Such crazy creatures there. See, so we have this line going here, and then we have this line going there. So that tells me that there needs to be one coming from this direction that goes right in between them and creates that accordion. See that? Same for right here. And then, we can go here. Moths better than butterflies. Certainly, at least for me, it's more rare to see a moth than a butterfly. A bigger moth, that is. Ever since I was a kid, though, I was always interested in monarch butterflies. I used to read books and stuff about them. How they migrate and all the stages of their life.
Now, how may these hands be of service to you?
Lang, thank you very much for the 8 months of support. Appreciate that, Lang. Alright, that's starting to read pretty well. Add one right there. Now, when it's tight up on the body, you want the wrinkles to be less pronounced, you know, where the clothing is tight on the body. There can still be wrinkles, but they're not as deep. Yeah, it'd be cool to see some stuff like that. Pull some wrinkles out here. This one will go down a little bit because of the belt area stretching. Okay, now let's do the other side of the seam line here. This is the part where you can see why it's nice that we didn't sculpt the arm in, because we'd have to be working around the whole arm at this point. But now we have a nice just place to rest our fingers and work on this area. definitely hard to reach. Alright. This arm is bent back here, so it's gonna create a wrinkle like this. So you can see there's just certain things you have to pay attention to when you're doing wrinkles. It's, you know, gravity, seam lines, the position of the character. All those things kind of determine how wrinkles will go. Yeah, we did, we brushed on a layer of Bacon Bond, and then we rolled out a sheet of clay on the pasta machine, and then just kind of covered everything that we wanted to work on. So, the thickest setting, actually. The biggest setting on the machine. Nice little tight little wrinkle there. First, not even. You're third. I was first. The Slender Man. Hello. Just looking at the wrinkles, and you'll get an eye for noticing when something needs more touch. You know, needs something more like this area. Just creating some deeper wrinkles coming in from under the shoulder plate there. Clothing wrinkles for me is less about trying to be realistic, and it's about riding that line between realism and, you know, creating movement and interest in the sculpture. The way you render clothing can really make a piece stand out, I think. It's like an exaggerated form of realism. Oh, I have to do that too. I really have to mow. Perhaps I'll do that today. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. So we're gonna move on to the next step of this process, which is we're gonna take a brush with alcohol and kind of get the surface cleaned up and smoothed out, and get it ready to accept the texture that we want to use. And then after we add the textures, then we can do stuff like elements like the little belt straps in the front here. So we just got some isopropyl alcohol here, 99%. There's all kinds of solutions you can use for this same method. It's just what I use. I like using alcohol because it evaporates fairly quickly, so the surface of the clay will restore back to a working state quicker. In the past I used mineral spirits, but that takes a lot longer for it to for the surface of the clay to not be mushy. So we're just brushing with the flow of our detail. Don't want to go against, because then it'll erase it. And you can even use the brush to add in more wrinkles. You know, if you push the corner or the edge of the brush, the hard part of the brush, down firmer, you can add in the most subtle wrinkles. I tend to do that a lot in this step. It's almost like using the brush as a sculpting tool. Nice and cleaned up. Hey, Viren. Well, thanks for continuing to tune in. I do appreciate that. Thanks for supporting what I do. Allowing my clay pushing habits to continue. Hey, what's up, Silex? How you doing? There we go. Just bringing in that wrinkle there a little bit more. Working and lurking. We have a nice, strong work and lurk community here. Glad you're one of us. That's cool. Reminds me of the basket I made for the centaur piece. Remember that? Always like woven baskets. GG. Twitch being twitchy. It's looking good. Alright, last section right here. We'll start the next step, which will be to add our texture. There's all kinds of different ways to do texture for clothing. This is leather though, so we'll just be doing my standard leather texture using tools. But you can use like rough bristled brushes to like kind of paint in the texture, or you could do like taking pieces of cloth and pushing them into the surface of the clay to get like a cloth texture. The way that I'm going to show you guys to do this leather texture is a hand tooled method, and I really like how the results it gives, the way it looks. So you can see I'm actually pushing pretty hard with the brush at times. The more you push, the more it's gonna just alter and change things. So if you really like how things look and you just want to clean it up, don't even use pressure. Just the bristle of the brush is all that's needed to clean something up. But if you really need to change things, then you put pressure down. When you do more intricate details, it's very easy to lose those if you do too much brushing. What's up, Vam? How you doing? Alright, that's good. Let's move on to the next step. Let's see here. This particular tool I like to use. I have a ball stylus that kind of goes to a point. Just want something that makes a nice sharp line. Let's see. Hey, Sebas, how you doing? So I think that might be right there. Yeah, that's one of them. That'll do. So it's a rounded, but it comes to a point at the very tip, like the shape of a raindrop. I find that makes it cleaner, line. Here's another one. That one's a little bit smaller. We'll do that one. It creates less of those like clay boogers. Or as if you use like a needle tool with the really sharp point. There we go. Hey, thanks. Thanks. Let's see here. Also need another particular tool. This one. And we can actually add in, I always like doing this in these valleys here. We'll just add in some resemblance of stitching. That kind of stuff really shows up well when we do the painting. Well, glad to have you with us. Caught us during our monthly tutorial stream. There we go, and one more seam line over here. That's correct, yep. So today we're just doing the torso. We've already sculpted and finished all these parts, the boots, the pants, the belt. This is all hardened. It's just how I work through characters, one kind of element at a time. I'll have to get in here and clean this up, make it actually look like a layer of cloth that's going over another thing. So we'll just kind of come in here with this tool and actually define the edge. Like that. The other side. Woozer Moose, hey, thank you for the raid, man. Appreciate that. Welcome, raiders. Gonna reestablish this line here, this separation line. Hey, thanks, man. Okay, now, actually, I need to clean that up a little bit up there. This is looking a little bit messy up there. Clean that up before we get into the textures. Okay. You would sub, but you broke. Hey, it's okay. You gotta take care of yourself before you can take care of others. Don't worry about it. Someday you will be not broke. That's when you can take action. Okay, now let's begin. So, because it's leather, we kind of treat it similar to skin, and also we're going to kind of follow the way the wrinkles are going, and we're just adding our small kind of like squiggly X lines, going with the flow of the wrinkling, because leather wrinkles kind of where it bends, you know. So if there's a wrinkle, a larger wrinkle already there, that means it bends there. And so we've kind of already established where we need to add our little lines. Yeah, so we're just kind of lightly holding the tool at the end like this, kind of letting it move a lot, not really holding it real firm, but really loose. Just going to add in our little lines, little squiggly X's. And it's okay to do more than you think you need, because we can always knock it back down with the brushing. So if there's a part that you don't like or you want to get rid of, you can easily brush it away. It's true. That's true. What's up, Joe? What's up, Jerryson? Even add a couple vertical lines against the grain a little bit. That's good. Can go in and make them a little bit darker, a little bit deeper, kind of in the areas that are kind of creased the most, you know. Aladdin. Yeah, I could show it here for a second. Still want to do some more work to it, of course, but definitely getting further. You just want these to flow in a certain way. You don't want to like be sitting there and really like meticulously placing each line. You know, you want there to be some, it's like controlled randomness, if that makes sense. Where you're just getting the lines down. You don't need to control every line. Just more of, you're more of controlling the flow of where it's going, you know, not. It's better to do it that way, and then if there's something you don't like, remove it, you know, than to try to meticulously place each line. Hey, thanks to She-Devil. Glad you like. I really like how that piece is turning out too. Yeah, nice addition to the old portfolio. Alright, it's going to be easier to go upside down for this part, because now I can start from here and move my lines that way in a much more natural position. Notice how I don't have the tool straight up and down like this. I'm very as parallel to the surface as I can. And what that does is it really eliminates the creation of those little clay boogers that you get when you're scraping the surface of the clay, those little pieces of clay that kind of stick around. Oops, sorry. Oh, really? That's cool. I didn't know you played WoW there, Dishida. Well, that's awesome. All right. Again, let's add a couple of those against the grain lines. He is right here. Get some more work in on him. Almost finished with the hair. Oh, nice. Good old World of Warcraft. I always joked about how, when our generation gets to retirement, everybody's just going to be sitting around playing WoW or something like that. You won't need retirement homes, just land centers. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that piece, how that's turning out. It's always a challenge to bring a two-dimensional character into the three-dimensional world, so a fun challenge. I already do that, yeah, see? Right, a couple of these guys. Oop, didn't mean to do that, that's okay. Happy little accidents. One more section there. Yeah, getting up in that big old truck. Just gotta get one, like a fancy little elevator or something. A little elevator step. I'm sure there's something like that exists. Alright, here's the last little panel that we gotta do. Then I think after this we will do the belts or whatever is kind of holding his shirt together there. I'm thinking like a leather belt or a little tie of some sort, a little rope tie or something. And then after we get done with that, we can actually address the upper region here with the plate. The other day I was driving down the road and there's this old guy, real old guy, driving a big old truck, and he drops his like clipboard out the window. So he stops the truck, and yeah, it's just watching him get in and out of that truck. I was like, oh man, oof, it's rough. But he did it. He managed it. But he was really old too. Gotta always make the best of what you get. Go a little bit deeper right here. Hey, nice. You talk about for like here, the braided beard. Yeah, I mean braiding's just one of those things you get it. It's I don't remember. I think I learned braiding uh, because of clay, not because of actual hair, but it's the same process of braiding hair. Just so happens I have a daughter now. I'm ready, good to go. Do that braid. All right, that looks pretty good. Did it crash again? No. Seems like everybody's having issues today, self included. All right, now what we do is we'll take the brush again with the alcohol, but this time we're not going to push very hard at all. We're gonna just get the brush not super wet with the alcohol. You don't want it to be drenched. We want to be very careful not to erase the detail. We just want to clean it up, get rid of the harder edges that make it look like it was tooled in, you know. So we're just gonna lightly kind of go over with the flow of detail. Just like that. Yeah, I dip the brush in the alcohol, but then I kind of wipe it on the piece of wood to just get rid of, so it's not soaked. Get rid of some of it. I braided Ina's hair once. Did a pretty good job. Go. Okay. Hmm. All right. Now we have to figure out how we want to do these little ties. Could be buttons, could be little ties. I'm thinking like some sort of laces. No Scuffles. This is our special tutorial stream that we do every month at the last Sunday of every month. Don't worry. It's not Monday. It's still Sunday. Okay, so whenever I do strings or stuff that are really small that I need to handle a lot, I use some of this, which is a firm version of, it's a really, really firm version of the clay that I use. It's something that isn't available right now, but will be available eventually. What it was is when Cosplay was doing their Kickstarter, they created a batch like this from the Kickstarter that was way firmer than they wanted. So all the Kickstarter batches it's like the super firm version of the clay, which is actually really nice to have. So they will be actually coming out with this in so you could buy the extra firm version, but you can still do this technique with the medium firm. If you're having trouble with it, you can make your own firm clay. You just have to roll out a thin sheet of the clay and put it in between two pieces of printer paper for a little bit, and you'll see the like the oils leaching out of the clay into the paper. And so don't leave it in there too long, because it'll completely try it out. But periodically take it out of the paper and feel if it's to the firmness that you want. So you can make your own in the meantime, or you can just try and make the regular clay work. But yeah, so this is what we're using for this part. So we're just gonna take, it just makes it easier to handle a real tiny piece that's super thin, because if it's a softer clay, it'll just kind of fall apart on you pretty easy. So not soft. So we're just gonna roll out a nice thin snake here. You can see I'm really pushing really hard on this. That's how hard it is to get it to go thin. Hey Mars Worm, how you doing? So just gonna roll it to the thickness we want. I use a heat gun to bake small parts. Every once in a while I will. Yeah, every once in a while I will. But usually I got other things that I can work on, so I'll just toss it in the oven. It's the thing about heat gunning is you have to, well, first of all, you have to manually do it, and you have to always keep the heat gun moving, because it'll burn the work. It'll burn it really quick, because the heat gun gets hotter than the clay requires. And it's just kind of, for me, it's always easier just toss it in the oven, work on something else, and that way you're kind of accomplishing both tasks. But every once in a while, there's a need for heat gunning. Oh yeah? Oh, well, thanks. Good to have you here. I'm gonna break that piece off there. This is almost the thinness we need. I'll probably do just some, we'll just take a real thin piece here, and we're gonna twist it up to make it look like just add some interest to it. It's very thin, yeah, exactly. It's gotta be pretty thin. So just working it down to the thinness that we want. Trying to stay consistent with the thickness or the thinness. Type of scissor holder. Wait, what? sure what you mean. Okay, we're gonna take it in half here. Reset that up at the top. Then we're going to twist it nice and tight there. Oh, the hemostat. Yeah, it's called a hemostat. Sorry. I was like, wait, what? Yeah, those are super handy to have on hand. I have a Miss Colleen bought me a bunch of them, so I use them a lot. So just to hold stuff. You know, like this, I'm able to hold this and work on it. This is the hand of this character. And then I can also just go right into the oven, you know, so this is oven safe. So I put it into the oven, it holds it up while it's in there too, so. Very handy. Alright, now I'm twisting and I'm trying to keep the twist nice and even. And I'm also trying to stretch it to make it even smaller. Just very carefully here. Yeah, exactly. It functions as a base, a temporary base. Sound muted. Nope, not me. Wasn't me. Yeah, I know what you meant. Everybody's having a case of the Mondays on a Sunday. All right, that looks pretty good. So now we're just going to trim this end off here. We're just going to add it to our spots that we've already prepared here. Like this. Pushing it in like that because we want it to look like it's threaded through the shirt. Take that little end off there, see? And then go to the other side. Like so. This one will be a little bit trickier because of the beard. She could come at it from the other direction. Oh, let's drop that in my chair real quick. Jeez. Alright, third time's the charm. Here we go. There we go. I'm using the flat end of this to push it in, just like that, you know? Guiding it in the direction that I want it to go. Cleaning up the edges there, and then I just remove the excess. We'll do one more up top there. Yes, yes, everything's been baked except this torso that we're working on. It's one of the benefits to working with this material is that you can bake it in sections multiple times as well. And I'm thinking we might use just to do like one of those like roped X's on the side, like maybe, or in the back.
Now, how may these hands be of service to you?
Oh, jeez, I was muted. How long was I muted for? Wait a minute. Pro streamer. A long time. Yeah, since okay, yeah. Yeah, Ina came and put a note on the door, and I was talking about how she leaves me little notes because she knows how forgetful I am. So, because she messaged me and told me Emma's sleeping, but she posted a big notice right on the door. Emma's sleeping. Shh. Because she'll tell me stuff like that, I'll just completely forget, and then like get done with streaming, just like poof, like open the door all super loud and start shouting around. Then it's like the oh, oops. Hey, thank you, Noodle. Thank you for the 5 months of support. I do appreciate that. Thanks for sticking with me, supporting what I do. Thank you very kindly. It says Emma is sleeping with like 3 underlines under sleeping. ZZZ. Shh. I think my favorite note. She reads me like a book, I swear. My favorite note she ever left was she it was a couple weekends ago. No, it was probably like a month or two ago. She like drank 1 or 2 of her beers, and so she had like 4 of them left in the fridge, and she knew that I would want to in the late hours of the night want to take some of her beer, and so I go and I open the fridge, yeah, I'll just grab one of those. She won't miss it. And there's a note in there. No, it just says no exclamation point, like on the beer, right? It's like it gave me quite the laugh. Like, all right, you win this time, wife. Touche. Mm. Yeah, pretty much. Amelia. Why, hello, Amelia and company. Welcome. Come on in. You caught us on a special day. This is a tutorial stream. This character we've been working on start to finish in a very informative type of way, where I'm really trying to explain every step and thought process that goes into it. So, but yeah, welcome. So this is the character. Today we're working on the torso. We started off by doing all this leather detailing we just finished up with, and we're about to move into doing the upper part, which I'm pretty sure is going to be like a plate type of style. But yeah, what were you all working on today? Let's see. Let's actually start cleaning up this neckline area and kind of establish where that plate armor will end. Hello, Chocodile. Actually, I should clean up the shape first before I do it. We'll probably have to redo that edge. I'll show you guys why here in a second. Okay, so we're gonna add some clay to this to give us kind of like a more of an even surface. We want to try and make this. We're gonna make this part first because the shoulder pads go over that part. So we make this part first. So just gonna fill any valleys that I see. What's up, Onion? Add a little bit more material here alongside the neck. Want to be careful not to mess with our leather section. We want to make sure we don't touch that. Yeah, in my opinion, it's the perfect balance between being smooth but also like kind of like stiff enough to hold the shape, you know, not too smooth but not too stiff. It's the perfect in between. There's especially the new medium firm blend. Get that nice shape there. Let's add some more on the other side as well. This shoulder is up, right? So this one's down, this one's up. So the plate up here would be a little bit closer to the head on the shoulder there, a little bit. So that works pretty good. All right, let's fill in this valley there. Smooth shape. To end stream. Be very inconvenient, I think. Although, I mean, it'd be pretty hard to save up that much points. Oh yeah. Alright, looks like we're taking the day off. Alright, this is the tool I'm going to use. No, I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't. We're using this any sort of flat metal surface, and we can really kind of clean up shape of our armor here. So I'm sliding it along, kind of pulling the clay where I need it to go. So give it that nice, shiny, polished surface look. Good old feel. Gotta stay magically charged. This method takes some time to you gotta kind of get through a phase of doing this a bunch and it not really doing exactly what you want, but you start to get familiar with the tools. I've also used like tongue depressors before for the same method. I just like a metal surface because it really puts the texture of the metal into the clay. You know, that smooth, shiny finish. It is a bit tricky at first to kind of get familiar with it, and also like to not put little scratches from the edge of the tool into the surface can be difficult. Just gotta practice. No follow rules or anyone. Do you follow yourself? So, there we go. That looks pretty good. I'm not worried about the edges. Notice that? These edges are all real rough. We're gonna go back in and we're gonna fix that. Like short form tutorials, I haven't made any yet. So far, we're just making the long format tutorial. And then of course, you know, anyone can ask questions anytime. This is like a 24/7 live stream tutorial. Well, at least when the stream is live. I go over in the first episode of this tutorial series we're doing right now. I go over materials and tools, and I talk, and then we get into like building the frame and all that stuff in the series, but it's, you know, anywhere from 2 to 4 hour long episodes. But I think if you really want to learn, then it shouldn't matter how long the content is to learn from. Or 7 lies. Oh, dang. Fly. Shoot, fly, don't bother me. Alright, so I'm kind of trying to establish the edge here of where the pauldron, or where the kind of like this top plate kind of goes under where the pauldron will be. And I'm bringing this into the chest, and I'm also pulling the clay down past where the edge will be, because then we're going to go back in, we're going to cut the edge, make it look really nice. So let's continue. That all looks really clean and smooth. Let's do the same thing over on this side here. This needs a little bit more work here. Yeah, mobile always gets stuff last. Mobile's always behind on new features. Yeah, we're working on animated emotes. We have one so far. Okay, let's clean up this edge here. Dang, this fly. Thank you very much. Not me. Hey, thank you very much for that $10 tip. Not me. If it's not you, then who? I appreciate that. Thank you. Getting that edge down. Get this to go under. Thank you very much. It was me. Okay. It's you. Hey, thank you. Thank you for the $10 tip. Or 20, because if it was you, then it was you both times, right? Not me, it's you. This feels like, hey, sorry about your face antics. Could be somebody different. Somebody check the viewer list. He's here, isn't he? Alright, now we have our nice clean surface, flat metal looking surface. Actually, no, let's get this a little bit more flat here. I'm almost ready for the next step. Pat Feenut. Hard to tell. Too many hooligans hanging out here. All you guys can't keep up with all your shenanigans. Alright, now here on the front chest plate, I'd like there to be almost like 2 layers of plate. So let's figure out where those will be. So I think it kind of come down like this. Then it's more of like a decorative kind of thing. Thank you very much. All the hooligans. $10 more from the hooligans. Well, I do appreciate that. I suppose paid shenanigans is a very good thing. Is his name Olaf? I don't know. Don't know what his name is. I'm bad at naming my characters. There we go. And let's see here. Just gonna use. Now we're actually gonna use the edge of this tool here. We're just going to. Thank you very much. I donated this. $10 more. What the heck's going on here? Hey, thank you. Thank you very, very much, dear. Whoever you are. Alright, I think we'll use a different tool actually. Let's use this one right here. Any sort of tool with a flat, smooth surface and a nice sharp edge is always good for stuff like this. We're just going to push this plate underneath this one, just like this. We're creating that overlap. Like so. Thank you very much. too fun. Another a two? Oh my goodness, what are you guys doing? Is this a...
Thank you very much.
Yay, it's Snapbush. Oh, is that who it is? Thanks, Too Fun and Snapbush. Appreciate that. Crazy, crazy people. Right. Bunch of crazies, surrounded by a bunch of crazies. I'm the only normal person around here. There we go. Oh, you have that nice overlap there. Let's flatten this area back out a little bit. Illinoisian. Ship it? Oh, not yet. Alright, do same method over here. Just going to bring out those edges. A little bit of a bubble there or something. There we go. Flatten it back out.
Once upon a time there was a man, a wandering soul, lost in the realm of our kingdom. They say he was a king who fought a great war when the dragons came into our kingdom and burned everyone with a roar. Once upon a time there was a kingdom, a beautiful one, surrounded in darkness of an ancient war. They say there was a king, this wandering soul, who's cursed by a demon forever to watch his own realm rise and fall.
Alright. Now that we have that, let's actually clean up the edge. Take a sharp X-Acto knife and we're going to cut. Careful not to disturb the under layer too much. Okay, if we have to go back in and make a little bit of a correction. The heck? Right in the middle of the sun. Just kind of cleaning up the surface a little bit and the edge with this tool. Alright, let's do that cut on the other side here. This one's going to be a little bit more stuck on there. Alright, let's get a loop tool. Where's my loop tool? Ah, there it is. From smushing the clay down, this top layer merged too much with the under layer, so we're just gonna have to remove and texture that little area back. Sticks to itself real nice. Hey, have a good one, Chocodile. You don't bother. You never bother me, Chocodile. Just relax. Don't freak out. Hey, thanks, Destiny. Alright, we want to do something with this edge here. A nice clean cut. I'm probably just gonna push that down. Should probably do that with this whole area here. Create that line. We'll just have to retexture a little bit. back to our edges. Let's see here. A little dividing line. All right, cool. It's the process, the steps to get to this point, you know, is important, you know, like just starting with that basic shape, getting it nice and smooth and flat, then creating those little plate separations, and then at the very end, trimming up the edge. So you're not really worried about the edge so much until the end, because anytime you're manipulating the surface, it's going to mess up your edges. So if you do the edges first, you always end up having to redo them to kind of clean them up. So we just need to do that same process on the back side. Is his armor fancy or basic? Somewhere in the middle. You know, there's gonna be like rivets and stuff here. It'll definitely be dirtied up and dented a bit. Similar to his helmet, you know. But as far as textures and stuff go. Right now it just looks really clean and fancy, but we will certainly blend it in with the textures. Okay, so let's see. Let's go to the back side here. Let's see, this needs a little bit more shaping. Let's use our big flat surface here. We're just going to kind of like roll it on. I actually prefer softer clays usually, but not too soft, if that makes sense. It's kind of like a, but I've used softer material for specific things. It does make it easier to do certain things. The clay is softer, just like it. Same for a firmer clay, it does certain things better. But I'd say even the medium firm polymer clay is considered a soft clay still. You know, when you compare it to stuff like Chavant or Monster clay. Those harder, waxier type clays. Alright, let's pull this away from our edge and then we'll remove it. That nice clean sharp edge. This is medium firm. I mean, once it gets kneaded up, it's still fairly soft. Certainly not the soft is really soft. It's like peanut butter soft. I'd say the soft is actually, if you've worked with ceramic before, it's very similar. Yeah, ceramic would be probably one of the softest clays you could work with. How much time? It doesn't harden with time. I mean, it will lose its elasticity, but it never hardens with time. If if too much time goes by, it'll kind of dry out, but that takes many months to happen. To cure this material, you have to bake it. You have to cook it in the oven. Alright, this, I don't think we even see that part on this one. It's because of the way that everything's positioned, maybe a little bit. It is pretty satisfying to make clay look clean and smooth like that with nice sharp lines. I mean, I would highly recommend it. It really gives you complete freedom with your work, especially if you ship your work or just lets you make things like you normally wouldn't be able to with other polymers, so because of that flexibility. Yeah, it's been stormy here. Sure. Alright, now let's clean up the neckline. The area around the neck. A town by my parents' house got ravaged pretty hard by a tornado. Oh my goodness, that fly. No. No, action figures are made differently because they need to move. So they're sculpted, but with hardware in between. Yeah, well, I'm not sure if anyone died. I don't think so. So that's always good. Just damage, lots of damage. All right.